The NBA 2024-2025 season is kicked off, and I wanted to cover everything. Let's get into it right away. We're not going to hold you. This is going to be must watch TV on things that I'm interested in and what you should be paying attention to. Let's go. So, the end of an era. You're looking at Stephon Curry, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant. They might not retire this year, but their time is running out for being in the finals, and this might be the last time that you'll see them there. And LeBron has been amazing in his 21 years. He's playing with his son. This is a dream he's had, and I'm gonna be watching strictly for that. Whether he wins or not, it's just a beautiful thing to see. As far as Stephon Curry, I do believe he's one of the most underrated players, if not the most underrated player of all time. He is the best point guard in the NBA. And as far as Kevin Durant, I think this Suns is a sleeper team, which we're going to get into a little later. But I do believe that these three guys are trying to make their run right now. They want to kind of not keep the reins, but finish strong. And they know that their last years are coming. So I'm pretty sure they want to finish as strong as possible. So the teams might have pressure to maybe do some trades, change the, you know, roster and do some things that can be dynamic. So let's go ahead and dive into some things that I want to talk about. We're going to start off with the Bucks. First of all, the Bucks are crazy, all right? Whatever you want to think and hate on them, go right ahead. But Dame Lillard is one of the best point guards in the NBA, and Giannis is top 5 easily. And so I'm sure, they'll figure it out this year as long as they're healthy. I don't see teams being able to stop their pick and roll, right? Like it could be 2-on-5. Like, what are you going to do? You got to do something. But as you can see right here, the pick and roll game, whether you want to double up on Dame Lillard and give Giannis a quick play, that's fine. He's going to throw it up and Giannis is going to put it down. Simple as that. So they're dangerous every which way you want to go about it. I mean, look at this. Off ball, Giannis scoring with Dame's setup. And he can go down the lane. I just think they're the most slept on team and the most disrespected by the so-called experts. And I hate the experts. I'm going to be toxic right now and say, like, all of these experts who've never played basketball, maybe they played in high school and not even at a high level, just like at their recess with their friends. Like, come on, man. Why are we depending on their opinions, right? You have your own view. You watch the game hundreds and hundreds of hours. Give your thoughts and opinions down below on what you think is going to happen with the Bucks and with the season. I'm going to make a prediction video in the future, but I just wanted to start off with this, give some pointers and views on things that's hot out there. Second thing that's hot, that's interesting, is Ja Morant. He was back last year. He got a little shoulder injury. It was nothing too major, and he stepped off for a little while, but he's fully back. And I do believe that Memphis Grizzlies is gonna be fun to watch. Like, we shouldn't sleep on them and think that hey, they're done. They have a decent team. They got good pieces, and they're gonna be able to do something as long as Ja Morant is healthy. He's fun to watch. So this is a recommendation type of thing for you guys to pay attention to as you go. But yeah, it's going to be a very good year, fun year, watching these teams kind of develop their game. And speaking of develop the game, the best team in the NBA, possibly this year, the one and the only, the Kings, aka not really the Kings, the Thunder. I feel like the Thunder is the best feel good team. They're young, they're extremely skilled, and it's really going to be more about having the poise of a 82 season run. And they can be consistent, right? Are they going to go out and party, or are they working on their game every day, going to practice, sleeping early? Those things that people don't realize that does affect NBA teams more than you know. But their performance is not only going to be on SGA, which is the one of the best players, top 5 in my opinion, in the NBA, but the pieces that they picked up as well to help them grow and develop. They have a lot of key pieces. And so can they do it is the question. And I'm sure you guys are like, are you a fan of OKC? I'm really not. I'm just trying to give y'all some views on what has made them impressive. They even stole somebody from my Knicks. They picked up buddy Isaiah. So we'll see what happens. I do think they're going to be fun to watch. Whether you're a big time fan or not, all that stuff is up to you to decide. But we'll see as we go. And speaking of as we go, let's dive into what I will say is a problem to kind of discuss, because it's another one of those teams people be hating on. I don't know why people make it like Philadelphia is not going to be as good as they could be. It's injury, of course, happens to anybody. You don't want to see it, right? Like if there was no injuries, the NBA would be so different. But it's a part of the game. Joel Embiid's amazing, one of the best big men we've seen in recent years. You have Paul George coming in hot to help him, and Maxey, which I believe I'm more of a fan of Maxey on this team because I know Joel Embiid is good. I love him, but I want to see this young kid become the superstar that he could be. He's already been showing that he wants to, and he's dedicated. So it's possible that he will have a big breakout year, even more than he has already, with Paul George there to support him and to kind of help him grow. So just imagine, if him and Paul George have a synergy, and then you have Embiid just sitting there destroying people at any time you want. It's going to be a fun game to watch them play. Again, we're not here to make predictions specifically. I'll have a separate video about that in the near future, but yeah. And so let's talk about it, man. We're going to talk about the one and the only Wemby and CP3, aka Chris Paul. Chris Paul's not that big of a deal. He's not going to be like as impactful in the game when you're watching it. But what he does do, if you're a player, is he controls the game well. And the stuff I was talking about, the Thunder, that they need more experience, poise, Chris Paul has that poise. So we already know Victor Wemby's basically one of the best players in the NBA already. And he's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He should have won it last year, by the way. But I do think that with Chris Paul's poise, he's going to help the Spurs on the court. You might not see the numbers. You might not see, oh my God, Chris Paul's having the greatest year. No, but the team will win more. They'll play better. They'll be more efficient because Chris Paul's controlling the game, giving advice to the young guards, helping them learn how to control things. And so for me, this is probably one of the most important things for the Spurs. It's really not just, oh, can Wemby get better? Wemby's already top tier, and he's going to keep improving. That's not even a question. But the main thing for me is being able to be a winner, right? And how to dominate a game and take it over and become a king. And so that's the interesting thing. And speaking of interesting thing, we got Joker here. I will say this about Joker. He is easily, one of the best big men we've seen in recent years. And he's got to go down as one of the best big men ever when his career ends. But I do feel very weird. I don't know how to feel him wanting Westbrook when Westbrook has been getting a bad name by, the media. But Westbrook has always given his all. And that's the type of teammate you want. You want somebody that's ready to ride or die for you. And I do believe Westbrook is that guy. Can he be a spot-up shooter while Jamal Murray is bringing the ball and making plays, or when Joker's posting up and doing what he does? Can Westbrook be a spot-up player? That's the question we have for this year. I think it does matter about your team. So we'll see how that plays out, but I do believe the Nuggets will still have some really good basketball to be played, and it's going to be an interesting year for them because the West is stacked. I'm talking about stacked. So I cannot wait to watch the West try to compete. Speaking of the West, let's go all the way east to the champions. Here's the thing, man. I honestly think that all of you, yes, you're watching this and you're one of them. You, my comments, the media, all of you guys, all of you. I got cases on all of you, mother. Y'all be sleeping on the Boston Celtics. They are amazing. All right, they're the future. They have a 6'3" center who can shoot, spot up. He can block. He's well. I love Porzingis back when he was a Knicks player. They drafted him. And the Celtics are going to be contenders. They're going to be probably a repeat. It's possible. And the hatred that goes on with these guys, the underrated behavior that people, Olympic champions, 3 of them, and they're coming back after winning a championship, after winning Olympics. And then you have the core still together. Then you have a couple little pieces as well in there. It's going to be a dangerous year, man. Don't sleep on them. Do not sleep on them. And speaking of sleepers, Klay Thompson, man, did he just make one of the best Robert Horry moves of all time? Is he going to go and hit that game winner for Dallas? Because Dallas made it to the finals. They are spectacular to watch. Leaving the Warriors behind and closing his long-time career and championship run. Maybe he shut down the Warriors. He probably just beat the Warriors by getting traded, or not trading, signing for Dallas. He just beat the Warriors. So he's already a winner, right? Like, well, I'm going to a winning team, dude. You guys are getting old. And so he's just got to spot up, play solid defense, and hit his shots. Like, that's all you need from him this year. You're going to have 2 ball hog masters of PG players, and all you got to do is spot up and hit them shots, man. So he has to practice that rhythm of being in rhythm and getting the shots off. And the thing is is he's probably not going to shoot as much as he's ever shot in his whole career. The time with Durant was like what, 3 years or something, and they didn't really have 3-4 years. They didn't really have too much for him even at that time, but he was still consistently shooting. For the most part, they would look for him. So with Dallas, he's getting that same role, the championship role. So we'll see what happens with Kyrie and Luka. I do believe that they're going to be a contender as well, just because it's 2 of the best guards in the NBA. And then you have Klay and things like that. So he's, to me, considered one of the greatest of his time. And again, can he stay there? I'm not here to debate or argue with people about that. All right. So Chicago has what I consider another one of those sleeper type of things. You have a lot of good pieces. They have a really solid team, in my opinion. I feel like they've never been respected. And I know that's probably like, oh, what do you mean they're this? And you could probably make cases that people do respect Chicago. And, I feel like they haven't been given the respect. You have DeRozan. The more you say it, the more I don't, he's phenomenal, man. But they don't have that respect for him. And that's a problem. And I think that that's going to change. Lonzo Ball, another key piece. Josh Giddey, they picked up. Zach LaVine, one of the players. I thought he was going to start getting an MVP year, and he had a couple of little injuries. He was at that level almost. He was starting to peak, So we'll see what happens with the Bulls. Can they get back to that form and take over? Oh, they've been surfacing, like slowly popping their head out. And it could be an interesting year. And again, the pressure's on them. Speaking of pressure, another team who has, again, overseeded the expectations for a team that's so young, and they have really good pieces, but they're super young, man. And it's like, do you believe in them? Jalen Suggs, KCP, Cole Anthony. I mean, you go down the list of this team and you say, okay, Polo, can he dominate again? Will he be as good or better than he has been? Those are questions, right? Like, but they're young, man, and they have they're playing like, you know, they feel like it. They don't have pressure of their last years of like LeBron or KD, and they're also not like rookied out. So it's kind of an interesting place to be in. Again, I'm always looking for that dark horse to make the finals somehow. And I'm not predicting they will, but I do feel like it's a fun watch to see dudes make a name for themselves and actually, you know, make some noise. So I would love to see them evolve. Plus, I'll be in Florida at some point this year, so I want to go to a couple games. That's just me. I'm being selfish. But so there's just so much to talk about and things to kind of like ponder over what's going to happen in the NBA. And no one knows. No one knows. No one knows. And what we do know is we have JK. Okay. The Warriors need something. Here's the thing. I was talking about it earlier. The Warriors need something. You have the greatest point guard in the NBA, which we know that. But right now, the Warriors need something. And it's looking like JK is going to be sadly missed. Who knows? I think the Warriors will have an interesting year to watch and to see how amazing Curry is. I've underestimated him. I made a video on my channel if you're watching this. I honestly underestimated him and didn't have him up there like I used to. And I respect him now more than ever. But we'll see what happens as the year goes. You know, it's still very early. We'll find out shortly. We will find out shortly. I wanted to get into Charlotte. They're probably not going to make a big run this year, but that doesn't mean that they can't be fun to watch, right? LaMelo here is, to me, one of the best point guards in the NBA, and we'll find out if he's able to stay healthy and not have no trouble off court. This is a fun watch, regardless if they win or they lose, man. If you want to watch good games, he's going to give you those. Just my opinion. And so definitely keep an eye out, see what happens with the Hornets. They just got a young core. I think they're just focused on changing, right? Like Michael Jordan left the whole organization as an owner, I believe. And now they've just been changing some things and then kind of regrouping to become who they're going to be for the foreseeable future. And I do believe that it could be a fun watch, in my opinion. You know. And then, yeah, it's going to be a great year. I mean, even the Rockets look really good. And I want to kind of take a moment and show something before we continue here. This is the Vegas odds. All right. And first of all, I did not make this up. And these are not my predictions right now. I just want to share them because this is what they think. The Celtics in the East and the Thunder in the West. I can't lie. I do have the Thunders in the West, but it depends, right? Will Timberwolves surge? That's the question. I want y'all to leave me your picks, right? Your top 8 in the East, top 8 in the West. Or you could, if you're too lazy, just pick the top teams in the East and the West. First, number 1 or number in each. So personally, I have the Celtics possibly winning the record, but the Knicks, I feel like they're going to be the best team in the NBA. Basically, there's a lot of reasons for that, but I do believe we'll get into that in a minute. But I do believe that they'll have the best record, and then from there, you know, the Sixers, the Bucks can go either way. It could be a great season or a bad season. When you got superstars, you should count on them, and it should be reliable. As far as the West, I think the Clippers, Lakers, and Spurs not being in the playoffs sucks. A lot of young guys, a lot of young talent taking over the NBA. And this is unfortunately just the way the NBA is going right now. It's not really necessarily a bad thing, you know. But yeah, we can look at some of these odds as well of who's going to win it all. And I just think it's weird, man. some of the odds are just weird. I'll say it. I'll say it. But you see the Knicks right here. They have a chance. I do like that. They got to put that a little higher. For some reason, they got the Celtics automatically up there as the best, and then Philly lower level. I disagree with all that. And so this is just some things to watch when it comes to what's going on in the NBA stratosphere. And I want to dive into one last topic, which I'm going to make a full video about, which is my Knicks. I didn't really talk about them too heavily. I wanted to save it for this moment. So the Knicks have done something that I haven't seen them do in years. They picked up a meaningful team. This team is not all about just getting a star piece. They picked up meaningful pieces, people that are friends with each other, people that know each other. You know, Karl Anthony Towns, one of the best big men in the NBA, has been very close to the coach Thibodeau. So them picking him up, he's going to play better. They're going to understand each other and communicate better and healthier because of that. And then Karl Anthony Towns has been very cool with the guys. And the guys from Villanova and some people who have been friends are all connected. And so the team is going to be looking amazing this year. And I do believe that we're going to have a really, really incredible year this year. And while I don't want to make my predictions on this video, I do feel like the Knicks have one of those amazing, inspirational stories of a team that didn't just, get Kevin Durant and try to win. They got pieces that work together well, a well-oiled machine. And so for me, that matters more than all of the nonsense of trying to get a superstar every time. So it's going to be a fun year. I do have a separate video where I'm going to break this all down. Hope you enjoyed just my take on some of what's going to happen this year and things to watch, to go over. I want to just discuss a couple quick ones to talk about. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Curry. What will that be for you guys? Will the Thunders be able to dominate in the West? It looks like it's possible. The Pistons are slowly coming up. We'll see the dumpster fire that they're in. The Clippers have some weird scenarios. Well, Kawhi Leonard's injured. So is he going to come back? We don't know. That's kind of crazy to think about. And Hornets got Brandon Miller, who's a really good up-and-coming future star, possibly. And then, of course, LaMelo also gets his job done out there. Ja Morant's going to be fully back this year, so that's a cool thing to kind of see how that goes. And it's a fun year, man. It's a fun year. Zach LaVine's about to get crazy out there. I think Julius Randle in Memphis could be a big impact player for them. James Harden most likely will have a lot of numbers this year because it's going to be him by himself in the Clippers. We'll see. And then, what predictions y'all have, man? Because, again, this ain't one of those videos. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope you have fun with it. I do have that next video, pretty much watching some of the preview video of it. We're breaking the Knicks down fully and more. So go check that out. See you on the next one. Peace.